Hi, this is the Steam controller. I have had it for about 1.5 months. I did an early look about 2 days in with it, and I think I'm gonna do the final now. My thoughts, my reviews, basically, and a question and answer should you get it. So let's run through the basic. 4 buttons, A, B, X, Y. Feels nice to the touch. A bit small, actually. I think that should only have had 2, maybe 3 here instead, because the reach is not as comfortable, especially since you're mostly using the touch. But they are really nice, works fine. The Steam button the same, and no problem. Select, start also seems okay. The stick, very nice. I really like this. I use it for FPS games a lot. Preferably if the FPS games support both X input and mouse. That's the preferred way for me to have a real joystick and then the mouse emulation here. Okay, here we have the main left and right touchpad with the click. The click is a bit loud, a bit clunky, not so fine, but it gets the job done, but it could be better. Otherwise, I really like the feel of this, especially the right one, using a lot in FPS games, swiping fast up and down. Have not really used it a lot as a joystick, but tried a little bit. Can probably be quite nice if you tweak it a lot, but I just haven't had a case to do it yet. The left, on the other hand, as I prefer this for most games, or if it were a real D-pad I could have probably used it, but as it is now, it's hard when I like the joystick so much to use this. I am going to try to more and more try to use this, but I'm not really digging it. You can get quite good, and there are people that like this more than a D-pad. You just swipe, very nice, you don't have to use any force, I can see that, compared to a regular D-pad where you have to press. So it sure can be quite good, but just whenever I use it, I did in a real tournament in U1, I never could find the center. I played around with the dead zone and everything, but I always was a little bit going to the left, right, or I have to lift it to stop, and it's not comfortable. The best way is if you can rest the thumb on it. And with the mouse emulation, it doesn't matter. You stop here, it's no difference. You swipe and that. But if you do it with the joystick kind of movement or D-pad emulation, it's going to be mostly walking and stopping. So not something, but it takes time, so I'm gonna try to use it more and hopefully get more used to it. But I wouldn't have mind if Valve just added like a really nice D-pad. I think I could have gotten by just as fine with that being in a combination. So let's move on. Here we have left and right triggers, and they are dual stage, meaning this is analog, not a lot of travel, and then you have another button at the end. This works, but as it's not a great travel distance, it might not be the best for racing simulator, but for arcade games or arcade racing it should be more than fine. Feels very nice, I like that. I liked it. It could be a little bit worse for the last one, because in Rocket League I used that for gas and then turbo, and sometimes accidentally I hit the turbo, so it could be a little more like that. This takes a little bit more, and yeah, this could be little bit softer. It's a bit maybe too much force needed for this kind of motions. And it's a little bit, when you're holding it, it's not the most comfortable. You can use it, but you know, if you learn to hold difference, I guess you could even use it better. But for me, it's not the best. It works, but I think it could be a little bit softer to the click. Anyway, and here we have a micro USB port. You can use it if you want to use the controller wired. You cannot use this to charge the batteries, which are present here. AA battery and one AA battery. But you need to charge them separately. You cannot charge through the micro USB. And it's not required to have the dongle, the wireless dongle, when you are using the micro USB. As far as I know, I haven't actually tried it, because I am running in wireless mode exclusively. And it works nice. It's very nice. The latency is perfect and everything. And I have been using the same batteries that came shipped, so 1.5 months so far, and maybe 40 plus hours, no problem. But moving on, here we have back bumpers, and these are great and bad. Because when you're playing, you know, you can reach these nice, but you know, you can jump, you can crouch, you can shoot what you like, and you never need to take your hand off the right or left touch, but depending on what you prefer. So you can still be in the action, just keep going and everything. It's a great addition, but these are loud and they take a bit too much force to use. They should be more kind of the last kind of bumper click. And I think they should have taken these away and split and added maybe to a total of 4 bumpers here instead, so you don't have to reach for those. And these are actually so loud. So as I was playing Unreal Tournament, the new one, and CTF, and I was on TeamSpeak with a couple of Swedish guys on a server. They were hosting and everything, and I was using voice activation in TeamSpeak, and these are almost as loud as my voice. So even when holding the controller under my desk, you can still hear it, and I had to be softly trying to click them and really bump the voice activation quite high, and it's definitely too loud. These are quite loud, but you don't use them as much in general, so you know, but really they can fix this a little bit, and definitely did this. And if they did maybe kind of added more like a trigger feeling, the final click there to it, and then, you know, split added to it, would be absolutely great to have so many buttons without, you know, you don't have to lift thumb to do anything. You can do so many actions. Okay, I think that are the button layout. The quality, I think it's nice. You know, you can't bend it, it doesn't really, but people are, apparently many reviews are complaining that this is a cheap ass crappy toy feeling shit. I don't agree. It's glossy, yes, it's ugly, not gonna argue with that, but this feels nice for me. And you know, as I say, there's no creaking. I have had cheap ones, and they bend, they crank, they even, you know, they make noise and weird stuff. This does nothing like that, and for $40, nothing close to cheap crap. It's really not, and the technology you get are massive for the price, in my opinion. And the final thing about this, that apparently also many reviews just ignore or just skip by or not mention, or just say, oh, it has it, I don't like to use those, so I never discuss it. It's a gyro, and it's great for many things, because you can use it in steering games. I think I've seen maybe one reviewer mention it, and you can use it in conjunction with aiming, great for FPS. That's what I really prefer, because the gyro are really high precision and low latency, in my opinion. And you can think of it a little bit like the Wiimote, like you're holding and you're aiming, but the Wiimote had a incredibly, the latency was terrible, and the Wiimote was not comfortable holding, but since you are splitting the weight over both your hands, it's not a big deal, and it's really precise. You lift it and it follows right along, really great, and you can use it, aiming and then at the same time have tilt. So in some FPS games, you lean left, lean right, and stuff like that. Really awesome. I don't understand why so many reviewers just flat out ignore it. I don't even think Linus made Media Tech Tips mention it. I was so disappointed at Luke for that, and many big reviews. Also, everyone just is so flat up take everything and compare it against the Xbox controller. And if the Xbox doesn't have it, it's not worth mentioning, and it's not a fair comparison. Really, it's not, and it's just. It seems lazy about the reviews. As a reviewer, you should wanna dig down. You should go out on the forum. You should try to click every weird button in the layouts, and you should have found out the gyro. You should have tried it in racing games, and stuff, and FPS. But I think it may be just a few, and as I say, even the big ones doesn't even mention it. Now maybe you don't like gyro, that's fine. But as a reviewer, you should mention it, and if you get this, maybe you like it, maybe you don't. That's personal opinion, and that's fine. So let's move on. So far, the battery life is great. I mentioned it already, and many people seem to, the curve, complain, and many reviews mean had it a couple, maybe a day or so, use it for like an hour, like, oh, this doesn't feel like my Xbox One controller. No, it doesn't. It's nothing like it. That's the great thing. Now, I'm not gonna argue that it might be uncomfortable for someone, or some people, or many people even. But I actually never even, I didn't even think about it, because when I got this, I just fired up games, I put down, started, and then, review came, oh, and by the way, look at this. It's curved, it's shitty, it's bad. Well, okay, I don't feel like that. Maybe it's feel different holding it, but it's no problem. And I'm not really the greatest console gamer in late years. I was in the early years, so I maybe haven't been holding an Xbox controller several hours a day, and then it might be weird coming to something new. I can understand that, but it's just a bit of a learning, a little bit different. It shouldn't be that much of a problem, and I think that the curves are here for ergonomical reasons anyway. So, okay, well, let's move on. What is the best thing about this? I think it is that it has shown the industry that there are development to controllers that can and needs to be done. This is a great, maybe not for everyone. The gyro in conjunction, awesome. I hope Microsoft and more, the hardware guys like Logitech and Razer incorporate this in controllers, and it's got to be the same, response. Otherwise, it's just gonna be bad. It's got to be this, you move and it's go exactly. You don't feel any delay. Otherwise, it's not worth it. And dual state triggers, hope more gonna incorporate that. Definitely, back bumpers, awesome, also. And also, I hope that the industry will allow more customizations, because if you get an Xbox 360 controller, basically whatever are in the game, if there are any option at all, those are the only thing that you are allowed to change, and often it's not much you can change. So, and that's both good and bad. It's good that it works out of the box for people that don't want to do it, but there should be more headroom to tweak it to your liking, because that is one of the greatest strengths of this, is the customizations. So if I want to jump using this, I can, independent of the game, I can configure this to be jump. And someone else maybe want that for fire or item, and the person can choose to do that if the person wants to. And that is awesome. But what is the worst about this? It's, the feeling and the sound, Definitely, that's the worst. That is something that hopefully will get improved on. The glossy, I agree, remove. You can have the feel, the same texture, the feeling, and of the rest. There's no need for the glossy. And the absolutely most terrible thing about this is the software. The software is great in a way, but it's not really ready. It's not stable for the mass users as is. It's very obvious that it's beta, and once you connect this, you are asked to join the beta of the Steam client, which is required. You gotta use Steam client, and you need big picture mode when configuring this. That's it at the moment. Get used to it or not. That's just how it is. And there are options. For example, you can set the configuration that are used when you are just using the Steam client. For any game, even if you're running through Steam or not, you can set the config. And in that configuration, there is some more options for standard gamepad mode, and I think awesome. So if I just run Steam, I can let it be a Xbox 360, kind of type of controller, and any game fine just working as a gamepad. No, that doesn't work. You get to use keyboard and mouse on the desktop configuration. So why is that option even in there? Even it's a beta, get it out of there. It's just tricking. It's bad. And then you have a turbo function, which is great in the software. But once you enable it, it enables for all the buttons at once, and that's all. You can set it all of these buttons, or this. It sets it. Actually, it's quite nice, but I would like the configuration. But if you set turbo for this, it's turbo once you hold it the whole way down. I think. I don't think it was. It's one of the other way, but it's just one of this. It's not both, and that's great. But you should be able to choose if you want turbo or turbo. Turbo only when pressing, or turbo when pressing it full. It should be your choice. The same. You should be able to choose if you want all the buttons or one button to be turbo. Because using arcade games, you mainly use turbo for firing. And, if you're having the options, setting on all the buttons, that means jumping is also on turbo. And that in many games means you jump short, meaning it's useless. Alright, so let's get through. Should you get this or not? Let's go through a little bit of a checklist. It's glossy. Can you live with it? If it's going to bother you, the shit. So you're just gonna be crazy every time you look at it. If that is the case, then don't get this one. Because it is glossy and there's nothing to, do about it. If it's gonna be a problem, fine. Don't get it. The same like for the curves. If you just look at it and think that looks like shit, I'm not gonna be able to, live with that, okay? You should not get it. It's your choice. There's no problem with that. The batteries. There are a lot of people that are saying, batteries sucks. Okay, you get AA batteries and you cannot charge them in the controller. It's that, deal breaker for you. Don't get this one. Wait maybe for other, or maybe for Microsoft, to release new, maybe having cool features too. But don't get this, because, there are batteries required and you gotta take them out to charge them. That's just the case. Can you live with Steam Big Picture mode? Yeah, that's a real, I understand. It's not the best. Definitely, I would love to see the big picture mode being in the regular Steam client overlay, but it's not the case. You're gonna have to force yourself to use big picture mode. If you cannot, accept that, you should not get this at this time. You should wait, and maybe Valve will release non-big picture configurations. But at the moment it is required. So, you're gonna have to run Steam, and you're gonna have to fire up big picture mode. You can, once configured, run it normally. As long as, the games are run through the Steam client. You can add them as non-Steam games or whatever, but, you still get to run them, with Steam, through Steam. But you don't have to use big picture mode once it's set up. Do you love Rumble? This does not have the Rumble. It has haptic feedback, but it's mainly used so you know how fast you swipe, or how hard you're clicking, or how, the rate of the turbo fire. And you can shut it off completely on everything. It works very fine. And you can set it to low, medium or high setting, depending on what you like. I am actually leaning more and more to turning it completely off. I do have on low mode on the right task mode in mouse for most games, but I actually think I'm might just turn that off completely. But it is a good help, and in some ways, and it's a personal preference, and it's completely up to you. But there are no Rumble, so if you need that and you really think that emphasizes the gameplay, Xbox controller or other are much better choice for you. I turn Rumble off. I just think it's distracting. So it was like, yay, finally that shit is gone. I don't have to bother. Okay, let's see. This is not plug and play. So if you're the kind of person that you hooks up controller, you start the game, and oh, this makes me jump, or what does this do? Oh, I move. Yeah, no. Stay far away from the Steam controller. You need per every game set up to one. It can take 1, or even in some special cases even 2 hours to just get the hang and feel down of stuff. And it is one thing setup should be, because the software is beta, and a recent beta messed up every of my configurations. So yeah. So plug and play, no. You need that, you love that, I get it, but don't get the Steam controller. No. Woo! Stay away. Now, if you are a heavy console gamer, maybe you play with DualShock joysticks, and you even play FPS games, COD or whatever, Crysis, and you are pretty good. Maybe not keyboard mouse, but you are good at it. This might be hard for you, because this is so different. So if you are not prepared to really put in the hours for something that's going to feel completely off, and if you're really comfortable with playing FPS or all the games on a regular controller, you might hold off a little bit. Don't get this made. As I said, wait for other companies to check things, or for the Steam controller to mature. If you are a comfortable one, and this goes for keyboard and mouse setups also, if you have your favorite little keyboard, you have that mechanical ones, you have your nice little mouse, everything high DP settings, and you have a headphone, great monitor in front of you. You love this setup, you love playing that, you're not really, you never really have the thought of getting a controller, then don't get one. Stay in that setup, awesome, great gaming experience, yes, don't get a controller, definitely not this, but it's nothing like that. it can be quite good, and almost, with time you might actually get the kind of same level. But if you already have a great setup and you don't feel like you are interested or, curious about something new, stay there. Because just getting this and thinking, oh, I can get this and I can be as good or better as my current setup, that I am really comfortable with. Most likely not. If you are, keyboard mouse and comfortable and great, you're not gonna get the same out of this. Maybe in the years, or everyone is different, but many hours gonna take for you to even be close to it. And the same goes for console gamers. If you are used to a normal controller, this is different. So you're never gonna get the same experience quick. So the less console games, and the regular controller you used, and the more, curious you are about replacing keyboard and mouse, the better fit this will be. So only, consider the Steam controller if you're interested in something different. If you feel like I did, that playing with, dual stick is terrible for FPS. I tried it a little bit and I just, no, this is... I'm just fighting the controller, I'm not learning, I'm not. So I just quit early on, and I am at my, I have keyboard, mouse setup and everything, and quite nice, but I have had a little bit of problem with my arm, hurting sometimes, and ergonomic. I have had a little bad situation during a couple of years where I didn't have the most ergonomic setups. I think that hurt me, so I have been looking for something, well, not looking, but I have been interested in something else. And I also like to, game on computer or on my TV, and the device that can, be the same thing for both is, for me, great. So, if you have your perfect keyboard or, controller and you love it, you might stick to that, because this is so different, so it might be too hard for you to learn something new. And then I think this is the final thing. Are you patient as a person? Because the software and the learning curve is you're going to need patience. It's not going to be like pick it up and just get through it. And the Steam overlay with the configuration is not easy to get a hang of. There are no real information. You get to search for it, you got to read the forums, you got to try stuff, and you got to do a lot. So then you got to get used to the feeling of this, and you got to learn muscle memory for maybe you haven't used back bumpers or dual stage triggers. There's a lot of things that you need to be patient with and really try hard to not just like this is not good. But once you get past it, and if you have gotten through this and you order it, and to get through the questions I was asked about where to get it or not, and I think you actually can will be able to have a really good time. And I have been playing lots of different games. FPS, CSM works really great, the CSM 3 BFE edition. And Far Cry is a non-Steam game, but it also works really nice, the first one. And Rocket League, as I said, with the turbo and everything, like you can use this for steering or this, and really awesome. And Wolfenstein New Order, definitely a plus. Quake 2, an old game, Gyros, and for in combination with this, I have a really nice time. Emulators works also kind of awesome for the most time. Some might miss a D-pad, but you can get used to this maybe, or for me this works. Same thing with fighting games, it's gonna work decent. It's not gonna be it's not a pro, if you have this, you can steer like this, but it's never gonna replace a real steering wheel setup. So this is more for the casual. Same goes for fighting games. You can use this or this, and you can be good, but you cannot beat an arcade stick. So this is more for the casual kind of thing about that. The only thing where you might be better, as is actually during the FPS, which you can really get the feeling for the gyro, and that I think that are the main thing that you could get competitive with over time. And I actually played, as I said earlier, Unreal Tournament, new one, and I did fairly well. I placed, to the middle and sometimes first place, not with kill death ratio, but overall in capture the flag. And I don't think that would have been, I would have been able to aim a little bit with the mouse and stuff, but I don't think the score in the end would have been that much of a difference. And I was really enjoying myself, and I really felt that everything was smooth and fine. I didn't fight with the controller, it just works. So, yeah, it can be a really great thing, and I'm gonna let this be. I am positive about it, but it's not for everyone. And I hope that the industry and different partners, and Microsoft and other big people like that will look at this and say, oh, okay, that's a cool future, we might add it to ours, and that it will help push the forward a new generation of controllers that will hopefully be the same for both PC and consoles to come, and will be a better experience than the current, because it's not perfect in my opinion. And I'm gonna leave it as that, and you can watch some of the clips if you like, leave a comment, tell me how wrong I am, or question or something, up to you. And so enjoy the rest of the clips when I'm using the controller in games and emulators.
3, 2, 1, go!
Good! That move has been perfect! It's turbo time! Woo!